knows best.
Hi friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. I have a quick announcement before we jump into this. As you know, if you're an OG, I've always wanted this Monday episode to be your guys' stories and your guys' things and situations and dilemmas. I have now made it easier for you to submit your stories, situations, advice, whatever the thing is, okay? I made 2 Google Forms. I feel like I need to tell you this now or I'll forget. I'm going to link them in every single podcast description. You know, where it says all the things that I'm going to put number 1, the first Google form is going to be where you can type. So you can type in a long story. The only thing I ask, and these are anonymous, by the way, but you should give me as much detail as possible. In a perfect world, they would be similar to how the Reddit stories are, but like, I'm not too worried about that. If you just want to type it out. Or even better, I made a second Google form where you can upload a file. That way we can do voicemails. I was Googling around trying to figure out how to do like call-ins or that sort of thing, but I film in the middle of the day, which obviously most people work. So I was like, how can I do this? Do like an audio message, a voice memo. So if you would prefer to do that, which I will play the video or the audio message. So the anonymity, excuse me, bitch, the anonymous factor of it, yes, your voice will be there. So if that freaks you out, then don't do it. But if you're a girly who doesn't give a shit and you just want to like let it rip, you can leave. So there's a few ways you can do this. I have one spot in there, which it explains it when you click on the link where you can upload a file. So you could take a video, or like if you don't want to show your face, you could honestly just like point it up and just like tell it so it's like facing the ceiling. If that's easier, in my brain, I'm just like, what would make it easiest for them? You could do that. You can do a video. I think you should be able to, if you have an iPhone, there's a voice memos section or an application where you can record a voice memo in there. I think you can save it as a file and then upload it that way. If there's another way, like literally you can upload any form of a document. So however you want to do that, do that. Or I found a website, which literally, you guys, it's called like Vocaroo, Vocaroo, I think, but it's just www. I have it linked in the thing. And it's a website where the page, the only page, is a voice recording thing. So you can voice record and then you put share and it gives you a link to that voice recording. So I also then have another blank at the bottom where you can insert, if you do it that way, the link. That way it like sends you to the website and it'll just play your audio message for me. So with that being said, again, and that as well, like try and give me as much detail as possible. I'm going to try and work them into Monday's episode, maybe even Friday's episode, because that's a big chit chat. If there's like a funny story that I don't think really fits this vibe, but like is hilarious and I want to share over there, I would share it on Fridays and I'll of course let you know. But I just wanted to let you know, go to the description on YouTube, on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen, I'm going to have it in the caption, the 2 different Google forms. So I'll label it in a certain way, like write-in advice and then voicemail advice or what have you. Obviously, you can click on them both and do whatever makes the most sense for you. But that's it, you guys. I had one comment last week on YouTube that I saw where the person said to just jump right into the stories. Don't do the titles. Do not give the preview. So if you're one of the people that likes to know what you're jumping into before the episode, sorry, you snooze, you lose. I'm just going to get into the stories. I have 4 of them today. And the first one we're going to be talking about is, am I the asshole for telling my friend she couldn't bring her kid to my child-free birthday dinner? Let's begin. I, 29 female, recently hosted a birthday dinner at a nice restaurant with a group of close friends. It was meant to be a small, child-free evening. Nothing wild, just a quiet adult-only dinner with good food and good conversation. I made it clear on the invite that this was an adults-only event so that everyone could plan accordingly. I think that's fair. And I think every party I have as an adult when I have kids is going to be an adult-free or a child-free party. only kids. I throw a party, it's just children. No, I think every party that I have is going to be adults only because like I get it. This is similar to like the new trend happening where people say no kids are allowed at weddings. I get it. And it has nothing to do with your kids. I see so many people up in arms about this, and it's like, okay, quit taking offense to everything. Quit letting everything like feel like a personal attack. They just don't want like the rambunctious child energy. That's fine. We all get it. Like, yes, children are such a beautiful, wonderful thing on this earth, but for certain things, like if somebody has a preference and it's their party, it's their wedding, let them choose. That's where I'm at. Okay, sorry, let's keep going. One of my friends, Laura, 31 female, has a 3-year-old daughter. When I first sent out the invite, she asked if she could bring her child since she didn't have a babysitter. I sympathized, but told her that, unfortunately, I really wanted to keep this as an adult-only event, and I totally understood if she couldn't make it. She said she'd figure something out and never brought it up again. Oh, Laura is about to cause issues. But your friend handled it so nicely. Or like the person writing this thing, you know, I sympathize. I get it. It's not that easy. If you can't come, don't come. Like she's not saying like, you have to come. Okay, she's being a perfectly reasonable friend, in my opinion. Fast forward to the night of the dinner. Everyone is arriving at the restaurant and Laura walks in holding her daughter's hand. I was immediately caught off guard, but tried to stay calm. I pulled her aside and asked, "Hey, I thought we talked about this. I really wanted this to be child-free." She shrugged and said, "Yeah, but I couldn't find a sitter and I didn't want to miss your birthday." No, Laura, no. That's completely on Laura. Like, you should just not have come. How did you not find? Oh, and I get it. Like, things like that, childcare are expensive. It's not that easy, but like, then don't come. That wasn't your choice to make. You said, I wanted to be there for your birthday. This friend told you that she doesn't want you there if you are bringing your child. I'm sorry. It's very clear that Laura is in the wrong. At this point, I was frustrated, but still trying to be polite. I told her I understood, but I didn't think it was fair to the rest of the guests who also made arrangements for childcare, expecting an adult environment. I asked her to leave and come back another time to celebrate separately. She got upset and said I was being ungrateful and ridiculous, that her daughter was well behaved and wouldn't cause any trouble. But the whole point was the principle of the thing. I had set a boundary and she just ignored it. 1000% Laura's in the fucking wrong. What are we talking about? I understand, and that's really hard, but like, oh, and also the parents that are like, yeah, my little Jimmy is a perfect little kid. Oh, Jimmy's a fucking nightmare. It's always the people that say that their kid is the best. That's the worst. Okay, I don't have that much experience in this setting. I don't have a lot of friends or people with kids, but like, it's always those people. And that's not the point. It's the principle. And like, your friend was being so polite about it. She's like, I get it. If you can't come, you could have, plan something separately and maybe your kids can get together, or if you don't even have a kid, whatever. But like, that was not the point of this dinner. And that's a really good point about the other people who do have kids that arrange for that. Like, on one hand, the people-pleasing side of me and the person who just doesn't give a shit about things is like, what's the big deal? But like, no, it's the principle. It's the fact that she didn't want that. And it's the fact that you talked about it. It's the fact that she spoke to you about going to this dinner, not being able to find childcare, and saying, I get it. I'm sorry, but like, then I don't want you there. Don't bring your kid. To show up with your kid after you had that conversation. On one hand, like, if she had gotten the invite and just like didn't see it or just ignored it, it'd be one thing. It's still not correct. She is still very much in the wrong. But the fact that you had a conversation one-on-one about it, like, she knows very good and well that you said that. No, I'm sorry. Okay, Laura ended up leaving in a huff, and later she sent me a long text about how I humiliated her in front of our friends and made her feel like a bad mom for bringing her daughter. Laura's a victim. Laura is a victim through and through. Shut the fuck up. Humiliated? You humiliated yourself. You did that to yourself. You're the one who brought the kid when you knew explicitly that this was an adults only situation. I don't feel bad for you at all. A couple of our friends think I overreacted and should have just let her stay. Others agree that it was unfair of her to put me in that position. Now I feel torn. I didn't want to make a scene, but I also feel like I shouldn't have to justify a boundary I was clear about from the start. Am I the asshole for making her leave when she showed up with her kid? You are not the asshole, not even like 1% at all. And it sucks because this girl that wrote the question sounds like she's like a very kind and like go with the flow, people pleaser type. And I'm proud of her for setting the boundary, but no, it was clear as day. It's not even like there was a question. She knew that no kids were allowed and that you would have preferred her to stay home if she couldn't find childcare, and she showed up, and that's on her. And I think she's just like, not to take it there because there are different levels of bad friends, but yeah, she totally did not respect your boundary. And this is somebody I would think twice about keeping in my life, which it seems so silly and it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It could have been nothing. It could have been totally fine, but it's like her freaking out after the fact when you were, number one, so kind, but number two, like so transparent with her. That's on her. And I don't feel bad for her at all. People are actually insane. And this is what makes life so hard, is dealing with people in general. And like, there was not even, I always think about like tiffs in my life, like when I've had an issue or when something's going on, it always seems like there's a misinformation part of it. Like, I feel as humans, we all have different definitions of things. So oftentimes when we're in arguments with our partner or with people or friends or family, I feel oftentimes people aren't even arguing about the same thing. They are arguing about different things. And that's like the main issue. I think people just look at things differently. We define things differently. Like, that's just human nature. But in this situation, there's like quite literally not much that could be misinterpreted or like not understood, you know. But people are just people, and they also think that the world revolves around them, and they're like, oh, it's fine, my little Jimmy is well behaved. No. And also, even if they are the most well behaved little kid, that's not the point. That is not the point. Your friend asked you, like, it's the least you can do. If my very best friend or a close friend was like, hey, I'm having this party, it's adults only, you can't bring your kid, if you can't find child care, don't come, I would be like, okay, if I found childcare, I would go. If I didn't, I would stay home. Like, that is what she asked. It is her birthday. People honestly are just not that considerate of others at all. And I think that's a big problem. Like, it's crazy how children grow up and like manifest into these humans who like just don't give a shit about other people. You know, there's a way to care about others and also not be like a overly people pleaser type, but like to have no consideration for what somebody asked of you. That's fucking crazy. Okay, that was a good little, I love the different adult situations like that. It's similar to the wedding because I feel like older people just like don't really get the vibe. Like, I feel like it's always older people making a stink about this new like wedding rule, how like kids shouldn't be involved, which you don't even have young kids, but, or it's like, I get it. And here is the thing, like, childcare is expensive, especially if it's an away wedding. Like, finding somebody to care for or watch your child for somebody's wedding is complicated and expensive, but then don't go. Like, there's no world where I like don't understand it. If anybody made any rule, like, you either abide by that rule or you don't come, and that's okay. And they're giving you the option. Now, if it were like your sister or somebody close to you, I get it, but like, it's part of the deal. It's part of the deal. I'm sorry. It sucks. It's not easy. Nobody is like coming up to you and spitting in your face and like, I hate your child. It has nothing to do with that. And I understand the difficulties that people have to go through to then find and spend money on childcare. Not ideal. Of course not. But it's like, that's what they asked for. It is their day. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's move on. Next. Oh, this is a good one. And if you are a person with parents that are in love and have never been divorced, I feel like always those people that aren't going to side with me on this situation, because unless you've been in it, you don't really get it. But anyways, am I the asshole for listing my stepmom as stepmother of the groom instead of mother of the groom on our wedding invites and program? My fiance and I finalized our wedding invitations and our wedding program designs. The wording we chose has bothered some of my family, and I'm here to find out if I'm the asshole or not. Already off the bat, nope. You're not the asshole. First of all, you don't even have to mention your stepmother on the invite or the program at all. But like one thing through and through, if you have a step parent, that parent is not your parent. And I know some people have really good relationships with their step parents and they do then call them like mom, which I think is fucking crazy and weird. However, some people have that, but that is not the norm. The majority of people, I would say 99% of people, like they just, and again, it has nothing to do with them, but that's not your mom or dad. That is a step parent. But anyways, we haven't even started the story. Let's begin. My fiance's parents are both alive and married, so she just has them as father and mother of the bride. My mom died when I was in elementary school, and my dad remarried when I was in middle school. Okay, especially your mother is gone. Nope. That is not the mother. That is not the mother. Oh, that shit really gets me going because it's like so disrespectful. And again, it's always me. Like, I know we haven't even gotten that far in the story, but if the stepmom is freaking out about being called you are the stepmom. You are the stepmom. You're being mad about a fact. You think he's going to put you as his mother when his mother is gone? I'm so fucking sorry. You're out of your goddamn mind. My stepmom is very much my stepmom. I don't call her mom. I never introduced her as my mom. I also want to mention my mother on the invites and program too. So I had it worded as late mother, father, and stepmother. Totally. Oh my God. Of course. Hello. Duh. Nothing has been sent out or printed yet, but we had some family over for dinner on Sunday night and they wanted to see what we decided on. Stop that! First of all, and this might seem like such a small thing, mind your fucking business. People are so nosy. Why do you want... I'm sorry. What? And I get it. Maybe you're close with your family, but like, people are just so fucking nosy. Why do they need to see it? You'll get it in the mail. I digress. Like, that's not even something to get worked up about, but that shit, one of my biggest pet peeves in this world is nosy fucking people. Unless I'm coming to you sharing information about whatever the thing is, don't ask me. Don't wiggle your fucking weird ass little nose in my business. I must have like some trigger of some point. That shit irks me, but he's not saying that's a big deal, so I need to move past it. Okay. That's when some family spoke in protest at listing my stepmom as stepmother versus mother. Oh, not even her. Other people. Y'all are fucking weird. Oh my gosh. The people upset were my youngest full sister, who calls our stepmom mom, and two of my half siblings. Well, of course, that's your mother, but that's not his mother. But anybody with a brain could understand that. Oh my gosh. My dad had asked, why not just say parents of the bride and parents of the groom and save labeling anyone as step or as a lesser parent when my stepmom has been around a long time now. It's not less than. It is just a fact. A stepmother is no less than a mother, but that is not your mom. Oh, and again, I don't know if this, like, I have nothing to do with this. Like, I have step parents, but like, I never had anything like this happen. But what do you mean that's not your parents? Like, I had a stepdad, you guys. My parents divorced when I was 3. My mom got remarried at 4. I knew my stepdad my whole entire life. If you think for one fucking second I would ever call him my dad, and I didn't hate the dude. Like, he was fine. He was whatever, but he was my stepdad. That's not my dad. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. And like, even parents, I would never say he's not my parent. And like, that's my mom's husband. Like, that's my stepdad, but he's not my parent. Even though I was so young, I was under their roof at times. Like, it's just, again, if you're a person who's never dealt with this yourself, you'd be like, you might have opinions on it, but I'm sorry, your opinions doesn't fucking matter because you don't get it because it's so different. And like, from the outside looking in, I could get it. Like, yeah, my stepdad was in my life my whole entire life. Like, I don't remember a time without my stepdad being in the picture, but it's still not my dad. It's still not even like he was a parent to me, I suppose, but like I would never, if I were having a wedding, I wouldn't say, if even my dad was passed, if my dad was alive, if I hated my dad, that guy is still like parents. No, that's not my parent. My mom is my mom, but that's her husband. My dad is my dad. Like that's just, I'm sorry, that's just like fact. And I also don't like that the dad said it's lesser than, because nobody's saying that the stepmom is less than. Nobody's saying that at all. I don't think of my stepdad, I mean, he's gone now, but I never thought of him as less than. He's just not my dad. That's just not your parent. He was fine and dandy. And I know a lot of people, again, and maybe they have different opinions and we're all entitled to that, but like, I don't know. I just don't agree with that. Also, the part where he said my stepmom has been around a long time now. Again, doesn't fucking matter. She's still a stepmom. And my stepmom suggested that mom should have been listed last instead of first. Oh, fuck no. Fuck no. Oh my gosh. And all of this aside, how are other people going to have an opinion and tell you what to do on your own wedding advice? People need to mind their own fucking business. Like that shit just bothers me. What the fact, like, even if you just had two loving parents and you put things and they had opinion on who was listed where and what, that is not your wedding. That is not your wedding invite. Leave your opinions out of it. It's already just like that in and of itself is fucking weird. But the fact that this man's mother is deceased, he lost his mother when he was in elementary school and he's trying to recognize her. And obviously she was his mother. How dare, that's actually disgusting. That's sick and twisted that she would even say that. That goes to her insecurities and like, oh, this shit just bonkers my mind because like, how are you a grown adult? This guy's getting married, so he's at least in his 20s, I would guess. They're in their 50s probably, and you're having these kinds of opinions and thoughts on what. I'm sorry. And how rude, how disrespectful to the mother. Shut the fuck up. She sounds like the evil stepmother. My fiance said that her being dead didn't make her less important and that we didn't need their opinions on our choice of words because everyone got mentioned. Yes. Okay. Every time we do a God bless your wonderful fiance. Not that you can stand up for yourself, but like also that she's on your side and like, yes. The fact that the mother's deceased, I think gives her more of a reason to be at the top or at the first or whatever, because like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. And this is his wedding day and his mother is not there. And the fact that, yes, she's like, you guys' opinions, I don't give a shit. Good for her. But my 3 siblings who complained said it was mean for me to put her as step on them. My other younger full sister, who does not call our stepmom mom either, spoke in my defense and said she'd write it the same exact way if she were the one getting married. Yes! You need teammates. You need people on your side. In these situations, you need to rally the fucking troops. Which this is like crazy that it's a thing in the first place, but like, yeah, I get it. I 100% get it. It was just an overly dramatic issue. And honestly, the program was just covered in our wedding package, so we didn't intend to do it. Personally, I don't see why my mom has to come last and why I need to list my stepmom as my mother instead of stepmother when she is my stepmother. This whole thing has not blown over since Sunday night, and my dad sent me a bunch of screenshots with proof that listing everyone as parents instead of by official title is better, and why my youngest full sister has continued to bring up how bad she feels that my stepmom has to always be reminded she's a step. She is, and if she does not like that, she should have never married you in the first place and became a stepmother. This is another thing, like I will never understand when people become step parents. You know your place, like you are a stepmother. If you feel bad about that, if 20 years later you are sad, like it's just a reality. And again, like I guess it's their perception of what that means. It is on you if you feel like that makes you less than, but it doesn't. And nobody's saying that. They're just stating the fact that you are a stepmom. Because also think about all the people at the wedding and like, and again, this is such stupid shit that people worry about that I fucking hate in the first place and why I hate weddings in general. But like think about the fiance's family who like, or friends that don't know when they're looking at the program, they're like, oh, this is the mom and the dad. That's not his mom. That's not his mom. Like, that's what it's there for, right? To tell people and like, I guess to honor them, but to like, so everybody knows who is who. It's like when you list out the bridal party, it's like the groom, you know, his best man is his brother, and then it's his best friend or best friend from college or whatever the fucking thing is. Like, it's to explain who these people are. So anybody that doesn't know, that is not his mother. No, 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 no. My youngest full sister also said that if she can accept her fully, so can me and my sister. I'm sorry. Also, the fact that she's the youngest, that woman was in her life longer, which again, everybody has different relationships with their step parents, but like she probably doesn't remember her mom, which I still think is like, you should have recognized your mom. And I feel like in that circumstance, like the husband should have recognized the mom more and like made her a part. I don't know, but he probably didn't, because the stepmom sounds like a goddamn bridezilla or whatever, an evil stepmother. And that's a crazy thing as a younger sibling to say, like, I accepted her as mom, so should you. I'm sorry. Number one, I'm not you, bitch. Number two, that's not my mom. That's not my fucking mom. She also said that she wouldn't mention our shared mom if she got married, and she'd rather not have something morbid like that and instead focus on the living mom that she has. Yeah, that's crazy. And how sad for your mom if she's looking down on you, if you believe in God and religion and all of that. That's so sad. Morbid? Your mom is deceased. That's your mother. She gave birth to you and raised you for a little bit of your life. I don't know. And I don't even have like dead parents or like know anybody with, well, actually that's not true. My cousin Lauren lost her dad and she always thinks about him and talks about him and had him at her wedding. And I think even had a seat for him, you know, with like a photo of him, which again, everybody like is different and views these things differently. I guess if that's her prerogative, let me actually back that up one second. I don't care what she does. Again, if she views that as her mother, okay, let me not judge her. But again, don't push your views on your brother. Just because you feel that way and you did that and you're going to do that doesn't mean that he should. I think people need to mind their own fucking business and stay out of it. My stepmom hasn't said more, but I could tell she was feeling hurt. I know she's entitled to her feelings and I won't discount them. We don't have a bad relationship, but I have never called her mom, so I don't see why this expectation was ever there to begin with. Nope. And again, I want to go back to what I said at the very beginning, the fact that you're even speaking of her in the first place. I know people that have not. I know people that wouldn't even bring up the stepmom, even though she's been in your life for however long. It doesn't matter. It's your wedding and you get to do whatever you want to do. And like, this is such a crazy, stupid thing. And it sucks that it's always shit like this that our family like stirs up. It's like, why is this even a thing? And you know how this could have been prevented if those fucking nosy motherfuckers wouldn't have asked to see the invitations. Like, they stuck their little nose in this shit and then it causes issues. And I feel like these people know it. And which again, like, regardless, I just like cannot. I know that the way that I am is unusual. I am like a Mel Robbins let them to a fucking 1000th degree. Like, I believe in let them with my whole chest and nothing ever bothers me because I just allow people to exist and do whatever they want to do. Now, if somebody blatantly disrespected me or like said something or called me a name or like did something to intentionally hurt me, but like however somebody wants to do something, that's fine. And this woman, and to any women out there, which actually the last story that we have is about dating somebody with a child. If you are insecure or not okay with being the stepmom and like that is going to bother you, then don't be a step parent. It's that easy. Then don't date somebody with a kid. If you are gonna like take that to your grave, that it's disrespectful, like, no, it's just is what it is. Nobody's saying that you were a bad parent, that you were this, that, or the other. You just are his stepmom. And like, especially when the parent is dead, when the mom is deceased, like, really, I just find it all really disrespectful, especially coming from the father. And he should not only stand up for his child and his decision, this boy, but also stand up for his wife, his deceased wife. Do you have any care at all? Like, I don't know. And again, like, I'm not a person that thinks that much about this kind of thing, but like, what the fuck? No, this guy is not the asshole at all. Speaking of dating somebody with a kid, let's go on to the next story. Next! Am I the asshole for dumping my girlfriend because of her kid? So, I, 29 male, started seeing this girl, Julia, 25 female, about a month ago. Things were going really well. We had great chemistry and I was enjoying getting to know her. I had no real complaints. She seemed fun, cool, and like someone I could seriously date. Okay, they've been dating for a month. Let's all remember that. A few days ago, I had just finished a long day at work and I told her I'd pick her up and take her to this nice restaurant I'd been wanting to try. I was excited because I thought it would be a fun night. She replied to my text, "I can't tonight. My parents have plans and I need to take care of my child." Wait, she just casually drops on you that she has a child in a text message? Like that? Oh my gosh, wait, what? I'm sorry, that's actually crazy. I get you've only been dating a month, but you guys know my stance. I think I've talked about this before. If you are a person who's like on dating apps or dating and you have a child, that's something I think you should list right away, especially if you are a full-time single mother and you have your kid at all times. Like, that's something you honestly should just put on your profile to deter people who wouldn't date somebody with a kid. Or you don't, I don't know. I feel like you'd be wasting your own time because I feel like if you didn't put it on your profile, that a lot of people would match with you. And then the second that you tell them that you have a child, they would say no thanks. And then you just wasted your time on a date, which sucks. But it is the reality of that situation. Like if you have a child, some people are not going to want to date you because they don't want to be a step parent, just like I was talking about. And that's not wrong. That's not bad. And it does fucking suck if you're a wonderful woman and you feel like you could get any guy ever, but like you're held back and only certain guys want to date you because only certain men are up to being with the woman with the child. But like that's just the reality of what that is. Like if you're a full-time single mother, it's responsibility, and that guy is going to have to come in and take on a dad role depending on the situation, what your, you know, the dynamic with the ex. Like there's so many weird fucking things at play. That's number one, crazy that she waited a month if you guys had been dating. But number two, she just dropped that in a text message. I'm sorry. What? I would literally go into shock. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? We've been going on dates for the past month and I didn't know this whole time that every single time we went on a date, you were needing childcare or like the kid was probably with her parents. That's crazy. At first, I was taken aback. I honestly thought I misheard her. Like, did she just say kid? I thought maybe she was talking about a younger sibling or something. But when I asked, she casually confirmed that she has a 7-month-old baby. Oh my. It's not funny at all, but like, holy fuck. Oh, but then here's the deal. I don't know. There's a lot left of this story, but like if he backs out now because he doesn't want to be a father, a 7-month-old baby, like there's a lot to unpack there. This was recent. Like what's the situation? You're only a month in. So like, yeah, if you're not okay with being a stepdad or a dad, like you have to back out now. But this is like, exactly what I'm going to say is true, but it's like doesn't need to have a negative connotation. Like she's going to assume, which is true, that he doesn't want to date her because of the child. But when you're in that situation, you need to understand that you have a child. And this is not something that's just like, oh, it's no biggie. Like that. We just cannot be that naive. Like it sucks because, you know, you might have a wonderful relationship and everything is going great. Like in her mind, I'm thinking she's like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And then the second he finds out you have a kid, he's not in it. And it's like, oh, but just because I have a kid, but it's like, you have a kid, you have a child, no matter what the age is. Like that person that's now dating you coming into your life has to take on a completely different like role and responsibility. And it's just like obviously a lot more to consider. Hello. Yeah, it's going to be hard no matter what. Also, that sucks for him. And also, which is why I think it's fucked up to wait a month, because here he is having no idea. He also was like, this is somebody I could seriously date. And then he finds out she has a kid. Number one, it's like lying by omission. So that doesn't feel good. And number two, like he would have just entered this whole thing or not entered the dating at all if he would have known in the beginning. Like she pulled the rug out from underneath him. So that sucks for him big time. Now, I'm not someone who judges single mothers or anything like that, but this was the first time I was hearing hearing about it. We had been seeing each other for a few weeks and I had no idea she had a baby. She never mentioned it before. The way she said it so casually made it feel like I was the one who was supposed to just accept it, like it was no big deal. It's true, I wouldn't have continued this relationship if I had known about her kid from the start. I was stunned. She told me her parents were handling the baby most of the time, but still, it was a lot to take in. I just told her, okay, and cut the call. Oh, that's quite literally exactly what I just said. Like, no matter which way you spin this, yeah, it makes it seem like he's the bad guy when it's like, no, that's a huge fucking deal. That's astronomical. I'm on his side. Like, shame on her for like doing that to him and putting him in that situation. You know what I mean? I didn't reach out to her the day after our conversation and she didn't contact me either. Probably busy with her kid. No, but for real. Oh, that's crazy. But I do appreciate the joke. 2 days later, she messaged me, but I didn't reply because I didn't know how to handle it. That night, she called and asked if we should still go to the restaurant the next day. That's when I realized I didn't want to continue seeing her. I told her I didn't know she had a child and that I didn't want to be a step-parent, so it was best to end things. She calmly said, okay, I understand, and we ended the call. Oh, there's more to the story, so we know that's not where it ended. But if it just ended here, that would be a perfectly normal and reasonable response. Like 1000%. He is allowed to have that right and say that I don't want to be a step parent. Of course. Not a lot of people want to be a step parent, especially at that young age. 29 male and she's 25 female. And again, like all of the things, it's also what comes with that with the ex. It's like, what's that dynamic? Like there's so many things involved. Oof, duh. The next morning, I woke up to a banging on my door. She was sobbing, telling me she loved me and begging me to meet her kid. She said I'd fall in love with the baby and wouldn't leave. I told her if I had known about the kid, I wouldn't have started dating her in the first place. She cried harder, and I told her that I had to go to work, which was true. Oh, fuck. Oh gosh, I feel bad for her. I mean, that sucks, but she did it to herself. Again, this is one of those scenarios like, girl, you did that to yourself. If you, again, would have been transparent and said from the get-go, you wouldn't have gotten this far. And I know that sucks. And again, I get it. If you're a single mother out there and you're like, yeah, but like I miss out on a lot of good guys, but it's like, they don't want to be a step parent. Like they are making that, like that would never work out because they wouldn't be a good partner if they didn't want to be a step parent in the first place. You know what I mean? But the showing up at the house, telling him that he would love the child. Number one, she said, I love you after 6 weeks. But number two, the fact that she's telling him he should meet her kid and that he wouldn't leave. Ugh, crazy. That's also not a very good look. Yeah, I feel like the writing on the wall is there. Not that, you know, what was she married before? Was this like a hookup situation? Was this just a boyfriend? Like there's so many things to unpack. And if he just knows straight out the gate that that's not something that he wants, like you don't need to unpack that. Don't need to justify it. Like if he doesn't want that, he doesn't want that. That's just that. At work, I got an anonymous call with slurs. I'm not sure if it was her or someone else, but I'm suspicious. When I got home, neighbors told me that she was crying loudly at my door and she banged on some of their doors too and introduced herself as my girlfriend, so they didn't take any action. Most were supportive, but one single mother, Georgia, gave me a dirty look and said I shouldn't have given her hope if I was just going to leave. No. She obviously doesn't know the situation. She does not know the circumstances and what happened, because that's not what happened. And anybody that says differently is in the wrong. No. This is how you get fucked. This is how, if a man didn't want to be a step parent, but was like, I really like her, like I'm going to give it a shot, deep down knowing that he doesn't want to be a stepdad, that he doesn't want the responsibility, that he doesn't want that role. No, this is what girls do. Us girls, like we get in situations and then a guy like breaks out like this super bad red flag or like a situation and we're like, but I love him, I'm going to make it work, when like we should have from the get-go seen that thing, whatever it is, and been like, nope. But men are just better at doing that than women for whatever reason. I think. Honestly, I'm still processing the whole situation. I never intended to be a step parent, and I felt like she should have told me sooner. I'm starting to feel like I'm being blamed for something that wasn't my fault. Am I the asshole for ending the relationship and not being ready to take on the responsibility of dating a single mom? No. He is not in the wrong at all. That's a fair thing to say, a fair thing to want, and that's literally it. Whoever's painting you in a bad light, they're obviously her friends or family or whatever. That's on them. Like, again, whatever she wants to, lie about the situation, be like, he left because I have a kid. Like, no, it wasn't just that. It was the fact that you held on to that. And also, again, it's like, that is true. Like, things were going well, but it's like, you have a kid. You have to understand as a single parent or a person with a child, like how big of a thing that is. It's like the biggest of all things. Like, there's so much to that, to being a parent, to, all of the other things that go along with that. Yeah, no, he is not in the wrong. Also, regardless of the child, the fact that she's showing up at your house after a month crying, banging on the doors, acting like that. No, I feel like, I probably shouldn't say this on the interweb, but like, depending on the situation, again, was she married? I'm guessing not. I feel like that would maybe get brought up, or maybe you never got that far. I don't know. Like, if she's 25 years old, she has a 7-month-old baby, she got pregnant at 23 or 24, wasn't married. Again, that's not all bad, but I do feel like, and again, I don't want to get canceled, but like, it's irresponsible. Again, accidents happen. I get it, but it's like, to some level that did happen regardless. Like, yeah, were you not on birth control? Were you using a condom? Like, there are a lot of ways to prevent pregnancy. And if you're out there and be like, accidents can happen, I get that. But again, when you're looking at something at face value, I'm going to go ahead and infer, like, after also seeing this behavior, showing up, pounding on the door, like acting a little bit erratically, that maybe she's not like the most, responsible human being. Because even I can't see myself. I would never go to a man's house, no matter how bad he wronged me, and bang on his fucking doors crying. Like, that's a bit unhinged in my opinion. And we've all been crazy. We've all done things. If you are out there and you've acted in that way, I respect it, and I will stand behind you and say act crazy, but it is crazy. So like, he definitely, probably dodged a bullet, I'm afraid. And I hate to say that, but like, again, she needs to be more forthcoming. I think it would help her in the long run. Again, if she's on dating websites, I get it. You're probably then canceling out a lot of potential men, but it's like, thank God you're not wasting your time with men who, the second that they find out you have a kid, wouldn't be interested. It's like going to save you a lot of time. You know what I mean? That's my advice to her. And to also just like focus on being a mom right now. Like, clearly you have a 7-month-old, like you just had this baby. I would get your shit in order. I would, take care of that baby, get working, and then date when you're ready and you have that all sorted. Not to say that she doesn't, but like, that's crazy. You're single at 7 months old. So clearly this, like, if the breakup happened before the child was born or right after, like, that's like still very recent. And to have a child on your own and like having your parents help, like, that's a lot in and of itself. So that's what I would say to her. And then also, when she does actually like feel like she's ready to date, to put that on her profile, because you're going to save yourself a lot of time. And it sucks, but like, it is your reality. If you're a single parent out there is a person who will absolutely love being a step parent, like, no doubt in my mind. And there are some people that are perfectly made for that, and that's who you're going to find. If you're a single mom right now, like, I would not stress about that at all. Your baby is going to be the most beautiful, wonderful thing that ever happened to you, but it is going to make dating more difficult, as we know. Hello. But if you then put that on your profile, and then you're only getting men that know what they're jumping into and are okay with that, that's who you want to date in the first place. Somebody that knows that. And there will still probably be men that say they're okay with it, and then their actions show that they're not, because they didn't realize how much of a responsibility is. But like, for your baby's sake, like, when you date and find a future partner, that man needs to be 1000% in it with you and your child. And like, that's what you should want for your child. You know what I'm saying? And as for the guy, totally fair. If you're probably not a guy listening, but if you're a girl and you meet a man and hit it off with him, but he has a child and that's not in your cards, like, do not date that man if that's not something you want to step into, if that's not a role. Like, that is as good of a reason as any to not continue a conversation or a relationship, I mean. And it sucks, and he might be a wonderful man, but like, that is like quite literally one of the biggest life choices. And then to come into that role, you need to think a million times about that. So those are my thoughts on that. Let's go to the last story next. This is gonna be a good one. It's another threesome story with the husband and wife. And you guys, I don't know why I do these again and again. I'm so fascinated by people who get married and then try and have like a, what's it called, polyamorous relationship, which if you believe in polygamy, like, I'm not here to judge anybody's thing, but like, why would you get married if you don't want to have one partner? What is the reason for getting married? I just like will never understand that. And of course, naturally, as a monogamous person, if, oh my gosh, like sharing a partner, I'm sorry, I just had an aneurysm because like that makes me want to die inside. No. And like, as a monogamous person also, I am like, there is an undercurrent of judgment to people who do polygamy because like, I just simply cannot understand it. But I don't even think that's the case. I think a lot of people just are not with the right person, and then they're like, let's try a threesome, as if that's like, wow, that's gonna help our marriage. I'm sorry, what the fuck do you think was gonna happen? I'm always just so baffled by people's stupidity. But let's begin. Am I the asshole for not having another threesome with my husband after he got upset last time because I carried on when he had finished? I, 35 female, have been with my husband, 41 male, for 15 years, and throughout the entirety of our relationship, he will ask me maybe 5 times a year if we can have a threesome with another man and how much he'd like to spit roast me. Okay, I don't know what spit roast means, but I can infer, and I don't like that. Ew, what? That's crazy. Obviously, I'm just gonna like generalize here, but a man wanting a threesome with another man and his wife, that's fucking crazy, because I feel like most men would be like, yeah, let's have a threesome with another girl, because like naturally they just want to fucking cheat on you. Okay, this is a little bit different, but like, what the fuck? He wants to spit roast me? Okay, they've been together 15 years, and throughout the entirety of it, he's asked maybe 5 times a year. Damn! And now when you're 35 and 41, you give in? No. Okay, I'm already not a fan. I'm not against it per se, but I've done it before and found it nowhere near as coordinated as it is in porn, and it felt awkward. When we have sex together, we will sometimes dirty talk about a threesome, and we have watched porn together of threesomes before. A few months ago, something happened in our life that made me think we only live once. I'll do it for him, as it's something he's always wanted. Something happened in your life that made you think, wow, let me give my man a threesome. Let me give my husband a threesome with another man that he's so badly been wanting. What happened in your life to make you come to that conclusion? She should have said, like, at this point you're spilling your beans. Like, did you have like a near life ending, like, that's the only thing that comes to mind is like they had like a near death experience, and she's like, light bulb, I'm gonna give my husband a threesome. That's crazy. Anywho, he took some pictures of me and we posted them on to specialist wife sharing sites and spoke to a lot of men. We met up with one guy, Martin, and we all got along great, and we decided he was the guy for us. It's not funny, and I understand these are real people and a real experience, but like, to me, it's not, because oh my gosh, Brenna, you've gone into this like 100 million times, but I just think of me and my partner. Like, I would so much, if I was in a near-death experience, I would rather die than have a threesome with my husband. I'm sorry, those are just my thoughts. A few nights later, he came around and we all went to bed and had a great time. My husband had made sure to release himself about an hour before so he wouldn't get too excited, and the first time he lasted longer than Martin. Ew! I'm all about talking about sex, which I don't do enough on this podcast, and I want to more, but like, he released himself. icky. That's weird. It's not, but like reading that is just weird about another person. Okay, so her husband made sure to jack off before so he would last longer, and he lasted longer than Martin. Got it. We all went downstairs and they sat in the living room while I prepared them some food. Within oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. I really need to keep going, but I just like think about this dynamic. You just went upstairs and had a threesome with a random fucking man that you met on a website. You come downstairs, him and your husband are hanging out and you're making them dinner. Like, what a fucking odd thing. I would die to be a person. What do they call that? A peep in the wall or whatever. Like a spy, a fly on the wall. Hello, a fly on the wall, to just like that dynamic, because that has to be weird. No matter how good you're making it sound, that has to be so fucking weird. Within a half hour, we were at it again. And this time my husband finished first while I was riding Martin on the sofa. He went and sat in an armchair, and after a couple of minutes, he was on his phone. I asked what he was doing and he said, filming you. I don't want to forget this. So I carried on and hammed it up a bit. Within 5 minutes, Martin had finished and I went for a bath. Martin and my husband were playing FIFA when I came back down, and he left about 2 a.m. Oh my gosh. Okay, so your husband finished. You're riding another man as your husband sits in a chair and watches, and then it says, I'm filming this because I don't want to miss it. Ugh. All of it is just fucking weird. It's weird. And I apologize if you're a person who's in this circumstance, but to me, it's weird. And to me, that shit would never fly. And again, I would love to be a fly on the wall. Like, oh my gosh. Again, I like cannot understand it at its simplest form. Like, I can't even go there in my head because I would never be in this predicament. But like, what? I'm sorry. The next day, I asked my husband if it was as good as he was hoping, thinking he would say yes, as we had fun, I thought. He said no, and I shouldn't have carried on after he was finished. I said that would have been unfair to Martin. Why the fuck do you care so much about Martin? But I guess whatever. I guess I don't understand him. But anyways, I said that would have been unfair to Martin. Plus, he said he was filming it because he was enjoying it. He said he wasn't filming it. He just said that. I said if that was one of his rules, then he should have communicated that to both me and Martin before the fun started so that we knew. He said in his fantasies, the other guy always came first, and then he reclaimed me by finishing second. I said, well, I'm sorry it didn't go to plan, but I'm not sorry for carrying on, as I didn't think I did anything wrong. Here's the thing. If you're going to do this, if this is your prerogative, you have to have the most clear fucking boundaries beforehand. I mean, I always think it's going to end in a mess. There's no situation in where I think this is a good idea, obviously. Hello, have you heard me speak? But I do believe that if you're going to do this with a boyfriend or whatever the setting is, you need to be so clear on expectations for everybody. Even if you're all friends, like, I think you have to go in with that, what you're looking for, what you expect. Like, if the husband had clear things, he wanted to finish second to reclaim you. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I get it. People have fantasies, but like, it's so weird to me. But he wanted that and he didn't want her to carry on and whatever, then he should have said that. Then that should have been stated. So yeah, I kind of feel bad for her, but it all is just fucking weird. He also lied and said he's filming it, which maybe he was uncomfortable in the moment because his wife is like full on riding another man. But like, I'm sorry, what did you expect? I guess, like, what do you do? You're the one who didn't clearly explain what you were looking for in that situation, so how was she to know? She can't read your mind. Also, the fact that she's like sticking up for Martin and she said, I'm sorry that it didn't go as planned, but I'm not sorry for carrying on. Oh, see, scary territory. Like, now the whole thing's fucked. A few months later, it hasn't had any effect on our relationship and we have still had sex nearly every night, but he started asking to do it again and I flat out refused. He says that I'm being petty for holding his emotions over him, whereas I think that he's being petty for his reaction. It's not really a serious problem. We both laugh and joke about it, but I just wanted your opinion. Am I the asshole? Oh my gosh, you guys. The first comment says, cuck around and find out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like exactly. I've never seen one of these scenarios where it goes well. I guess because if it is going well, you're not posting about it on the internet. Do you ever see those couples? There was like a couple online on TikTok that like their whole account was about being in a throuple. But again, like I don't know if two of them were married, but it's like, oi. And here's the other thing, like, are you enjoying it? Like as the wife, it sounds like she's just doing it for him. And it's like, no, you have a say. Like, don't just do this shit for your husband. I get wanting to please him, but like this is a little bit different than like trying a different position or like doing a little bit more dirty talk or what have you. Like adding a full blown human into your guys' sex life is like a big deal. That is something you should want yourself and also your husband. But again, you need to have like the clearest boundaries, like things that you wouldn't even think of. He needs to explicitly say what he expects from it, how he wants it to go. But again, also it's like when you're messing around with another human, you don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know what you gotta like clearly, which I guess if people are looking for, if you're on a website where you're looking for people that are married with a man who wants to share his wife, you've done this before and you kind of know, but like you should clearly explain to that person. I guess it wouldn't be that awkward because if they're seeking that out, they clearly get it, but like you should clearly explain to all parties like what the scenario is and what you expect from it, because that is crazy. Wait, there's a comment down here. I never really look, but I wanted to see these ones, and it said the hubby got off on the whole thing, treated his wife like a blow-up doll, then pouted when his fantasy didn't go his way, wanted to pack his toy up and tell little Timmy to go home. Yeah, I mean, well, that's like the situation. He wanted it from the get-go and she just gave it to him. So like, yeah, I mean, of course, but like I think the whole problem starts when you're thinking about doing a threesome. Again, like I don't know, I guess that's people's fantasies and I shouldn't judge. And you're in a happy and healthy marriage. You've been together for 15 years and clearly they're joking about it and it's fine. But do I recommend that for anybody? Nope. Then don't get married. Like if that is one of your life, I guess, I don't know, I'm not the right person to speak on this, but that's crazy. Yeah, just maybe set clear boundaries. If you're a person out there who's in this predicament, God help you, but like just set boundaries. Those are my final thoughts. Thank you guys for being here. Let me remind you that I'm going to have those little forms here. I'm going to mention this on Friday's episode too. If you want to leave your story, give me as much detail as possible so I can make it like a full-on part of this episode. If not, I might put it in Fridays, but like explain the whole thing, explain the background. Like I know that might take up a lot of your time, or if you don't want to do that, then read it or like tell me the story via an audio message. I thought that could be fun. I'll have to like, figure out how I bring that in and how I want to share that, but I'm so excited. So don't email me. I will just always have this linked probably in my bio as well if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, but definitely in all of the podcast episode descriptions. You can find it there and you can leave your stories and then hopefully I can start adding them to the podcast. Okay, you guys, I hope you had the best weekend and I hope you have a wonderful week and I will see you on Friday. Okay, bye guys.